Talk with Doc. I took a week off, but I am back. And if you was waiting for me to come back, I appreciate you. I thank you. I always thank anybody that listens in because it is highly appreciated. We're gonna talk just a little while. We ain't got a lot of news on this show. Just gonna be some thoughts, and we're gonna move on. I'm just getting my feet wet again. But we're gonna talk about drugs don't work. Now, I'm not going to get into your pharmaceuticals because you might have an issue where you need your pharmaceuticals. Psychologically, you need them. Health wise, you need them. Just to stay alive, you need them. So, I'm not going to get into that. But if there's a holistic way to tackle a problem that you don't have to take pharmaceuticals, you know what's best for you. You know what's best for changing your lifestyle. I am talking about drugs and alcohol here. I am not a counselor. I'm not pro any program. I'm not trying to guide you left or right. Especially if I have somebody who's in their young adult age listening to me. I think this is important. Drugs and alcohol temporarily will fix whatever's ailing you. The key word there is temporarily. While you're under the influence, you will forget your problems, but they will manifest themselves instantly as soon as you sober back up. You might even make them worse by doing or saying something during the course of your intoxication that makes the situation worse. You know, drugs and alcohol are a way to hide from dealing with issues that really are on the table, things that we have to deal with. We have to learn how to fight. Then, when we learn to fight, we must fight, fight, and fight some more. If you don't have the strength within you to fight whatever you're ailing from when it comes to drugs and alcohol, seek help. Make sure surround yourself with people who love you, people who will not. If your homeboy is always trying to get you high, your homegirl's always trying to get you drunk, that's not your best interest at heart. There are things that we lose due to drugs and alcohol. Some people's going to be different things. Some people's their self-respect. Some people is their sexuality. Some people will lose their teeth. They will get health problems. I wish I would have never drank. I have not had a drink in about 8 years or so. Not because I was an alcoholic. It's just that the ship done sailed. That ship has sailed. I keep alcohol in my home. My wife takes a drink from time to time. It does not bother me. I can hang out at a bar. It does not bother me. I can go to Vegas and be in a club, and it does not bother me because I made the decision that I rather see clearly every day that I have left on this planet. I get high when I wake up every morning. I get high on life. I get high on having a roof over my head, a car to drive, money in my pocket, some form of health. I get high on having somebody in my life that loves and cares about me. Those are my get highs. I don't need marijuana. I don't need fentanyl. I don't need LSD. I don't need mushrooms. I don't need Johnny Walker Black. I don't need anything like that to help me enjoy a moment. I can enjoy a moment without being under the influence. See, that works for me. It might not work for you, but do everything in moderation. When you feel that you are losing control of a situation, like I said before, surround yourself with good people, get that help that you need, and learn to fight. And never bow down to peer pressure, especially you, young man, especially you, young woman. If you are a sucker because you didn't take that drink or you didn't smoke that dope, then you know who the real sucker is, the person telling you that you're a sucker, unless you fall victim to the peer pressure. The only person that you need to be is you. You need to be you all day long. Don't let anybody push you into corners. Don't make anybody allow anybody, sorry, to make you feel less than yourself about yourself because you're not doing something that they are asking you to do that really could be detrimental to your health, your well being. And never get behind the wheel of a car under the influence. That must be said. Do not operate a vehicle. Do not be playing with other people's children when you're intoxicated. Definitely don't have any weapons around. So there's things that you shouldn't be doing and things that you should be doing be due to drugs and alcohol. So for the most part, look around. See the people that you know that are long-time users of anything. See how their life is. Use that as a measuring stick. Use that as a litmus test. See if they're highly successful in moving forward and everything in their life is beautiful. And then you make the decision. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Is it really worth it to not be in your right mind? Because that's what you're doing. You're telling yourself that it's all right to escape and not be in your right mind due to the influence of a chemical compound in a drink or a drug. And you know what? That's all I want to say about that. So this week we lost Carl Weathers. We all know Carl Weathers for the most part. You know him from Happy Gilmore. Some people know him from the Mandarin Star Wars series, and most of us know him from Rocky. He also was in a couple of movies. I believe he was in a movie with Arnold. He was 76 years old. The dude played in the NFL. He's had quite the career. Lately, we've been seeing him in commercials with Gronk. He's been running around doing other commercials with the fake hand from Happy Gilmore. I just wanted to say rest in peace to Brother Weathers. I enjoyed his work. I mean, he was a big time dude, man. When there wasn't a lot of big time black faces in major motion pictures, Apollo Creed meant something to the black community. And it was an honor that a dude like him actually played that role because he seemed to have went on later on in life, not cause a lot of grief to a lot of people, and be for the most part a positive example of how you can actually make some money in the industry and not be a complete and utter ass. So this week we have a lot of stuff going on with Trump. Judge Ergeron said he was going to reveal the Trump fine and possibly being banned from doing business in New York under that fraud suit. But as of today, he has not released it. He did say the fine could be as much as $370 million. Then you got Judge Chukan postpone the interference trial into further notice. So, that's not the best of news. We would like to get this done and over. Okay, we already had the E. Jean Carroll decision come down, and he's going to have to drop some money on the table if he decides to do an appeal or not. If not, he's going to have to pay her $83.3 million. dollars. But we want to really see what Ergeron does as far as this New York case. He's had the decision in his pocket. I guess he's dotting every I and crossing every T and see where that takes him. Uh, we had a UFC card this weekend. It was Nezardine Imavov versus Roman Dolidich, and Imanov won the fight. Then you had Randy Brown in a first round knockout over Muslim Stalkovich. Natalia Silva beat Viviana Ario by unanimous decision. Molly McCann made a comeback after losing two in a row, and she submitted Diana Belbita in the second round with an armbar. Johnson beat Aztec Maxim unanimous decision. Somebody who's become a real fan favorite because of his backstory, Timber Gorimbo defeated Peter Rodriguez by knockout in the first round in 32 seconds. This is the guy that The Rock brought a home for down in Florida. He came from South Africa with nothing in his pocket. He really needed the money, and he seems to be philanthropic. He wants to donate or auction off all the clothes that he wears to help the village that he comes from. So I wish him nothing but success. You had Luna Carolina. She defeated Juliana Stolovarenko by knockout in the third round. I like Luna Carolina a lot. She's just a good fighter. She's always interesting in there. Now next weekend we're gonna have on ESPN Plus. Jack Hermanson is taking on Joe Pfeiffer. Brad Tavares is taking on Gregory Rodriguez. Rodolfo Vieira is taking on Armin Petrovstan. Dan Ing is taking on Lee Ron Murphy. Michael Johnson is taking on Darius Flowers. Trevor Gills is taking on Carlos Freitas. Luma Lukabume is taking on Bruna Brazil. Jeremiah Wells is taking on Max Griffin. Devin Clark is taking on Marcin Pacchino. Albert Duvalis is taking on Robert Bragas checks. So that should be an interesting card. I believe this whole card is going to be on ESPN Plus. There haven't been any knockout home run cards as of yet from the UFC, but I think that they're waiting to build everything up to UFC 300. But we'll see how that goes. Now in the WWE, I watched the Royal Rumble. I'm not going to get into that because too much time has passed to really discuss the Royal Rumble. I thought it was a good show. Now, with that being said, I am going to just make a brief statement. We got introduced to some people. Tiffany Stratus, we got introduced to. We got introduced to Braun Breaker. We got introduced to Jade Cargill. So that was pretty smooth. But we found out that CM Punk actually tore his tricep and he will not be at WrestleMania 40. So I watched Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. You can give me some feedback if you like. I don't like the fact that The Rock is taking a position away for somebody who busts their butt and shows up week in and week out for that company, and he just walks through the door because he has a made name. He forgot when he was a young man trying to come up in this industry and how he would have felt if he would have been brushed aside from his dream. See, because there are people in the WWE who still have not had WrestleMania moments. They have still not headlined WrestleMania. One, just think about it, CM Punk has never done it. So I feel really bad. I feel bad really for Cody. Even though if Cody went up against Roman, there's no way he would have won the title. But Cody going up against Seth Rollins, more than likely he can win the title. But now, why The Rock? Doesn't he have enough going on? He has his XFL slash USFL merge league coming up like in March. I hope between now and then, not that he suffers an injury, but he bows down because a lot of people on X did not seem to like this. There was a movement going on Saturday, and then Sunday they tried to switch the movement around pro rock, and I don't think it really worked out. And there's no way that he does not hear the chatter from the online social media community. There was some highs in the NFL. Even though some of them happened last week, I think that it's important that I mention them. The Titans hired the offensive coordinator from the Bengals, Brian Callahan, as their new head coach. Now, I think that this is anytime you lose an OC or a DC, it makes the team that loses them suffer a bit. I hope that this doesn't make Joe Burrow and Chase and those guys in the Bengals offense stagnant next year, but we shall see. The Chargers hired Jim Harbaugh as their new head coach. Now, Harbaugh left the University of Michigan. He won a national championship there. The young brother who was his backup is now the head coach of Michigan Wolverines. Atlanta Falcons hired Raheem Morris as their head coach. This is his second chance in the league. Let's see how he does it. The Commanders hired the Cowboys defensive coordinator Dan Quinn as their new head coach. Now, I am happy to see Dan Quinn go. I think that Dan Quinn's defense, as a Cowboy fan, failed in a lot of aspects. I don't understand the Commanders hiring him, but since he's been taken off our hands, I'm saying congratulations to the Commanders. The Seahawks have hired the Ravens defensive coordinator Mike McDonald as their new head coach. Let's see what this does to the Ravens defense going forward. This was one of the more dominating defenses in the NFL, but we will see. Bill Belichick and Mike Vrabel, two people that everybody was sure was going to get jobs, no longer even have an opportunity to land a job. We know that Bill Belichick is definitely not going to take a coordinator job. Mike Vrabel might take a coordinator job, and if he did, I think he would take it with the Commanders with Dan Quinn. But I don't even know how that would work. Two defensive minded guys running one team makes no sense. The Chiefs lost their defensive end, Charles Amanhoon, Ominahoon. He tore his ACL versus the Ravens in the AFC Championship. So that means he will not play in the Super Bowl. That's going to be a big deal. The Ravens, I mean, the Chiefs, Charles Jones is kind of dinged up. Pacheco is dinged up. You got Minahu out. So the Super Bowl is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs, which will be played Sunday. I have to go with the San Francisco 49ers to win this game. And I got them winning this game 37-24. This weekend that passed, you had the NFL Pro Bowl games. I don't really get involved with this thing. I turned by for 1 second before halftime. I think the score was something like 34-46. And I was like, this is ridiculous. I watch pro football. I'm happy for the guys that they don't have to actually gear up and get in uniform anymore and put their bodies on the line to play a meaningless game. Now that it comes down to the NFL honors and really it comes down to a flag football and skills position thing, I'm happy for them that they get to still be celebrated and don't take the risk that they normally would have had to take. I believe that all All-Star games should be in a manner done like this. You give them their honors, wait till the end of the season, give them their honors, give them a dinner, give them a ring or whatever you're going to give out as a trinket, and you let them just show off some skills and leave it at that. Put them in no position to hurt themselves because the NBA All Star game is a joke. And that's coming up soon, but it is basically a joke. So I want to get into who's going to be involved in the NFL honors. Here are your finalists for assistant coach of the year: Ben Johnson for the Lions, Mike McDonald at the time for the Ravens, Todd Monken for the Ravens, OC and DC, that's the OC and DC, Jim Swartz, defensive coordinator for the Browns, Bob Slowick, offensive coordinator for the Texans. Now, out of these five guys, I'm going to have to go with Mike McDonald from the Ravens to win assistant coach of the year. Now, coach of the year, you got Dan Campbell of the Lions, John Harbaugh for the Ravens, D'Amico Ryans from the Texans, Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers, Kevin Stefanski from the Browns. My pick here is D'Amico Ryans from the Texans, but more than likely they're going to give it to Dan Campbell. That's just my view. I would pick D'Amico Ryans. He took a team that was nothing and made him something in his rookie season with the team. Comeback player of the year: Joe Flacco for the Cleveland Browns, DeMar Hamlin, the Bills, Baker Mayfield, Tampa, Matthew Stafford, the Rams, Tua Tagovailoa for the Dolphins. Now, people are going to go with DeMar Hamlin. I don't believe that DeMar really played enough to say that it's a true comeback. He's a comeback in life. He was highly rewarded for that last year. I just don't see it. If you was to ask me, it would be Joe Flacco. What he did over the course of those last 7, 8 games for the Cleveland Browns should make him the runaway winner, but I would not be surprised if DeMar Hamlin won this award. Defensive Rookie of the Year, you got Will Anderson Jr. for the Texans, Jalen Carter for the Eagles, Joey Porter Jr. for the Steelers, Kobe Turner for the Rams, Devon Witherspoon for the Seattle Seahawks. I believe Willie Anderson Jr. from the Texans will win this award. Defensive Player of the Year, you got Deron Bland for the Cowboys, Max Crosby for the Raiders, Miles Garrett for the Browns, Micah Parsons for the Cowboys, TJ Watts for the Steelers. TJ Watts wins this award, and if he does not win this award, it's going to go to Miles Garrett. Deron Blanche had a hell of a season. I mean, he had pick six for the season, which is a record all time. Micah Parsons is only on this list because of name recognition. He fell apart multiple times during the season, so I can't believe in him at all. So I say TJ Watt. Offensive Player of the Year, you got Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins, Lamar Jackson for the Ravens, CeeDee Lamb for the Cowboys, Christian McCaffrey for the San Francisco 49ers, Dak Prescott for the Cowboys also. Tyreek Hill is going to win this award. He has to beat Lamb. He has more yards than Lamb. Lamar Jackson, I'll get into him a little later. Would I say Christian McCaffrey wouldn't shock me? No. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a two-person race. It's Tyreek and Christian, but I'm going to go with Tyreek here. MVP, you got Josh Allen from the Bills, Lamar Jackson from the Ravens, Christian McCaffrey from San Francisco, Dak Prescott from the Dallas Cowboys, and Brock Purdy from the 49ers. This is Lamar Jackson's award. Lamar Jackson and the only other person who can legitimately win this award is Christian McCaffrey, but I believe Lamar Jackson wins this award. Your offensive rookies of the year are Jamar Gibbs, running back from the Lions, Sam Laporta, tight end from the Lions, Puka Noka, wide receiver from the Rams, Bijan Robinson, running back from the Atlanta Falcons, C.J. Stroud, quarterback for the Houston Texans. It's going to be a good day for the Houston Texans because C.J. Stroud wins the Rookie of the Year. The only other person who really can compete with him is Puka. He's a wide receiver, but C.J. Stroud not only changed around that team with D'Amico Ryans, he is a rookie. He took this team to the playoffs, turned them around from basically a lottery pick to a top 8 team in the NFL in their division. So there's no way he does not win this award. NBA, and we're going to get out of here, people. Joel Embiid suffered a knee injury, and he's expected to be out for an extended period of time. I believe he's going to have surgery on this knee. I hope it's not something that holds him out like through the playoffs or anything like that. Joel Embiid has been spectacular this year for the 76ers. He has proven that he is that dude. He is him. Now, here's your games of the week. You know I love to give you the games of the week. You got the Mavericks versus Philadelphia 76ers. No Joel Embiid. We just discussed that. Tuesday, you got the Mavericks taking on the Nets. You got the Bucks going up against the Suns. Giannis versus Durant. Wednesday, you got the Warriors going up against Philadelphia. See, if I would have really thought about Philadelphia, I would have took them off my games of the week. No Joel Embiid. There's really no need to really watch them, right? You got San Antonio. You say, why San Antonio so much? This is the year of Wemby. We want to see this freakazoid play basketball. So the San Antonio Spurs are going into Miami to play the Heat, and you got the Pelicans with Zion Williams going into LA to play the Clippers, and you know what that consists of: Westbrook, George, and Leonard. Thursday, you got my Spurs again going into Orlando. Then you got Cleveland going to play in Brooklyn versus the Nets. You got the Mavs versus the Knicks. You get a chance to see Jalen Brunson versus Luka Doncic. You got the Minnesota Timberwolves going up against Milwaukee Bucks. Then you got the Jazz going into Phoenix to play the Suns. You got the champion Nuggets going in to LA to play the Lakers. Friday, you got the Hawks once again against Philadelphia. I thought they were going, when I set this up, I really didn't know about Embiid's injury. Uh, you got Denver versus Sacramento Kings. You got the Pelicans then taking on the Lakers. Saturday, you got OKC taking on the Mavs. You got my Spurs going into Brooklyn to take on the Nets. You got the Pacers going into MSG to take on the Knicks. You got the Suns versus Golden State. And the only game that I could really even give you to watch on Super Bowl Sunday would be the Celtics versus the Heat. And that pretty much wraps it up. Now, here's your all star reserves for the Western Conference of the game coming up: Devin Booker, Steph Curry, Anthony Davis, Anthony Edwards, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Carl Anthony Towns. That's your Western All Star reserves. Your Eastern Conference All Star reserves is Bam Adebayo, Paulo Banchero, Jalen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey, Donovan Mitchell, and Julius Randle. It's kind of disappointing that Trey Young never makes the squad, but this is also a small boys club where you get in, you get tapped on the shoulder, you get anointed, and that's that. And it's hard to break into the door. And here's your starters for the 2024 NBA All Star game. You got Shy Glorious Alexander, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and the Djokovic for the Eastern Conference. Sorry, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, and Joel Embiid. Maybe Trey Young gets picked up because Joel Embiid cannot be in the game. He'll be listed as a starter. He'll get the honors of starting, but that does open up a roster spot. But it looks like they got a bunch of guards already picked for the Eastern Conference, and I'm hoping that Trey Young does get that spot. We shall see. I think that he more than deserves it. Now, before I go, just real briefly, don't ever think to any question other than a physical or a psychological question, health wise. We're talking sheerly health here, to get by, to cope, to maintain. Are drugs the answer to any question? And when I say drugs, I also mean alcohol. That is not the answer to any question. If you can avoid being intoxicated, just give it a chance. Go to that club and you know what? Party without drinking. See if your dance steps are the same. See if your rap game is the same. See if your swag is the same, high or sober. And then you know what you do? You wake up that next morning, you feel great. You remember everything you said, you remember everything you did, you remember how you spent your money. Your mind will be nice and clear. Go to a date with that woman. You ain't gotta be drunk when you show up, and you ain't gotta get drunk when you're together. You want to be able to be conscious of what's going on around you, everything that's going on. Not just around you, but inside of you. Listen to your body. Sickness is out there. Don't welcome it by saying, you know what? Let me just get all screwed up here in the brain and let me forget nights. I mean, am I going to say that I'm not guilty? Sure, I'm guilty. I overdrank. And I've overdrank probably too many times. I mean, I haven't smoked weed in God knows how many years. So that's not a thing for me. Do I frown on it? No. If you can maintain yourself, I say maintain yourself. I just made a conscious decision a long time ago that that was not the way I wanted to feel. It was not the way I wanted to go through life. I like to be able to savor moments, enjoy moments, hold on to moments because they're fleeting. Life goes by really fast and it goes by so fast sometimes we try to remember things, but they in a locked behind a haze of a get high night. They're locked behind a haze of I was too damn drunk night. And that's not what you want to do. You don't want to be home and be like, where's my money? What did I do last night? Well, you're making a dreaded phone call to a buddy and you letting them recap how your evening was going when you should be recapping your own damn life. You know what? Somebody shouldn't be telling you the story of your day. You should be telling people the story of your day yourself if it uplifts and builds and helps them. And stay away from those people that try to peer pressure you into doing stupid shit. No, you don't need to drink 15 shots or you a sucker punk MFer. Then be the sucker punk MFer who didn't drink the 15 shots, who didn't alcohol poison themselves, who didn't end up in the hospital or falling down and busting their head and breaking their teeth. You ain't got to be that dude. You ain't got to be that chick. You know, people want to take advantage. They want to pull that damn phone out and film you and TikTok you and YouTube you and make you into the fool and the clown, for their benefit, for their amusement. So be very careful out there. Once again, like I said, drugs and alcohol is not the answer to any question unless you have a physical, a psychological, or emotional problem. And I'm going to tell you, like I tell you each and every time, people, I enjoy you listening in. I appreciate you wholeheartedly. I would love to hear from you. Subscribe if you like, share if you like, comment if you would like. I like it to be all organic. It's not like I'm asking or begging you to do so. And I tell you, like I tell you each and every time, people, peace to you and peace to yours. And I will be back next Monday. Peace again.